Sevilla, who've been brilliant this evening. We'll talk about them later. You're right, mate.
Yeah, good.
Sorry. That was all too much for you for a second. Look, during the outbreak, all three of you were busy talking about the goal that won it for Sevilla. Let's just do that on air, I suppose, for people at home to hear the conversation you were having. Who wants to kick us off?
Scholes, you seem quite irate about it, so...
I think we all were, weren't we?
Yeah.
Look, there's a lot wrong with the goal. You can almost blame the full back four for this goal. Firstly, Williams doesn't get to the ball. Where Maguire is, I'm not too sure. He has to drop in, surely. Lindelof, he's the man with the sense. I know Wan-Bissaka can see him now, but Lindelof had a look there. He drops, he looks at his man. He's got to defend the middle of his goals. He's the centre half. He has got to defend.
I get
he's
that.
past his front post.
I get that. Both two centre halves are past the front, but Wan-Bissaka can see that the back of Lindelof's number, so he knows he can't see the striker.
Well, Lindelof's body angle is all wrong.
It's completely wrong. It's but Wan-Bissaka as a fullback's got to be covering inside the striker anyway, so he's in line with him. What he does once Luke de Jong scores, look where Wan-Bissaka is now. He's not even gone with him. He's not even stayed with him. Look,
I agree. He's a little bit at fault. I'd say probably in 25%. Lindelof 75%. Lindelof. When Lindelof's running back in, he had a quick look at him. So he knew exactly where he was. But then he puts his head down and doesn't look, and by that time, it's too late.
If I'm a fullback, and I've played fullback a few times for United, and my centre-half can't see where his man is, and he's standing right in front of me, the first thing I'm doing is staying with him.
I know,
I'm not
exactly
coming away
what
from
saying, but how can your centre-half not see where your centre-forward is?
It's error after error. Scholes,
yeah, exactly.
Right.
That's what I said. It's that. You can blame the full-back four. But for me, Lindelof is the biggest problem.
It looks twice. Look, Scholes, you watch it, look. It looks again now.
Yeah, that's that look.
Then he gets caught square.
Yeah.
Now you can't see him.
Yeah. And he has to drop into the 6-yard line, and at least he's facing him then.
But Wan-Bissaka can. Look at Wan-Bissaka. He's probably half a yard away from Luke de Jong.
Yeah, well, Wan-Bissaka, he almost has to anticipate that his centre-half is going to make a mistake.
He can,
and that's what good defenders do, don't get me wrong. But Lindelof for me. And Maguire, well, where is Maguire? Well, what's he doing? There's nobody there. It's one person against three, and that one person. And do you know what? It's a good ball in.
Yeah.
But terrible defending.
But you've got block crosses. You know, we talk about fullbacks. Yeah. You know, block crosses. You know where Navis is going to go. He's all right foot.
We've said all four. It's all four of them for against against two people.
Got to block the cross.
I mean, I know it's hard when you're at home and you're not in the studio. What do you think?
You know what? They're all right. Bruno Fernandes is right. Scholes is right. And Inti are right. Everybody's involved in it. Brandon Williams needs to stop the cross. If we go back to the goal there, when the ball goes wide to Brandon Williams, and we can just pause it real quick, it's actually 4v2. There's no danger. It's 4v2. You know, so basically there shouldn't be any problem there. If you pause it there, it's 4v2. And Scholes is right. Maguire's not marking anyone. He's crossing. He needs to be inside his goal, basically. In Lindelof, that's where they should be. They're not. Wan-Bissaka does well to compensate because he realizes they're in trouble. Lindelof's got to check his shoulder. He needs to be 2 yards deeper. But I agree with Insi in the fact that once Wan-Bissaka, he can see the whole thing. He knows Lindelof's in trouble. The ball is fabulous. The finish is fabulous. But when you're a team, you have to cover people's mistakes. And Bruno Fernandes is right because he knows that changed them winning potentially a European title. So frustration on behalf of the players because they care. But if they want to win a European title, they've got to take the chances. And you can't concede a goal when it's 4v2 at the back. You can't. Scholes is right. Everybody's involved in that goal. And I think all they'll just be disappointed that they didn't deal with it.
So much talk about Jaden Sancho. Paul, you mentioned Jaden Sancho bang on the full-time whistle. Do any of you think, though, that defensive reinforcements are the single most important thing this United team need?
I think they could do with centre-half. I've said that all along. I'm not sure Lindelof's going to be good enough for a partner as Maguire. I think they need a more dominant defender next to him. I think defensively, the full-backs are OK. On the ball, you'd have to question. But I think defensively, they're OK. So, yeah, look, Lindelof's all right. And do you know what? The defensive record over the last 15, 20 games, whatever it has been very good, probably one of the best in the league. So you have to take that into respect as well. But I still think a dominant centre-half next to Maguire just to cover for the slight weaknesses he has.
Yeah, and you mentioned that word again, and you talk about that word weaknesses, you know, and you always know whether you play buy-in now or Lindelof. They're always kind of prone to these kind of weaknesses. If that was Liverpool, that wouldn't have happened tonight. You know, it wouldn't have happened. You know what I mean? That wouldn't have happened.
From a quality perspective.
From a defensive point of view, we kind of think about...
Well, the forwards would have scored as well.
Yeah, for sure. But we can't always think about it's all about offensive plan X, Y and Z. You know, not a lot of managers do a lot of defensive play and how you should be from there. And Scholes is right. 2 centre-halves should never go past the near post. Wan-Bissaka has to deal with it. Well, whatever happened, well, he has to deal with it. You know, if that had been going there, well, he would have dealt with that. That's what I'm saying to you. Yeah. But they are short. Williams is still young, got lots of them, but I like him. Wan-Bissaka, offensively, does he go forward enough? Does he create enough? Is he the modern-day full-back? He's more of a defensive one. What did Fred do in the game again today? When you see much from Pogba, is that right position against him, holding alongside Fred, doesn't suit him? How many times did he get in the box? You know, we saw Pogba a year ago scoring goals. Didn't even see him in the box tonight. You know, so there's a lot of questions, you know, to be answered in that squad.
Yeah, do you know what? I think the defensive and giving the goals away is a little bit irrelevant. When you look at the chances United created, it's hard again to say so wastefully in front of goal, but the keeper was brilliant. You think the game the other night as well, the keeper was brilliant. I know, and that's why you have to go that extra mile or pay that extra money for a top-class centre-forward, a top-class wide player who win your game of football, wins your games of football.
Do you think that's required then? Because we've spent the last 2 games ahead of these matches talking about that dynamic front three. They've not scored a goal from open play.
I think these front three are brilliant. Yeah. They're really, really good. Are they that real top level where you're going to go on to win leagues, to win trophies? I don't know. They've got that to prove. But I think when you look at the stats last 2 games, you just said there 33 chances, 2 penalties. That tells you in big games, talking semi-finals, quarter-finals, where Paul said before the game you need 7, 8 out of 10 to win these games. Centre-forwards, when they get chances like that, to get the 7, 8 out of 10, they need to win your games of football.
OK, well, I'll tell you what, let's talk about life at the other end of the pitch. Harry Maguire is with Darryl. Let's get his reflections on this defeat for Manchester United.
Harry, you've only just come out of the dressing room. How hard is that to take?
Yeah, it's difficult. The boys are devastated in there. Created numerous amounts of chances. Got to win the game. The best team lost, and they've punished us for missing the chances. We've been ruthless at times this year, and today we wasn't.
It was such a good start to the game as well. Another penalty scored. Why did you feel that you let them back into it? What went wrong back there?
Maybe we started with a high press, we scored, and then we maybe let them out a bit too easy and had a little bit too much possession for our liking. They didn't create many chances, if we're being honest. It's a ball in the box. Obviously, they've worked it well down our right. We've got to do better. We'll look at it and we've got to improve. We've conceded from 2 crosses. It's not good enough. But we worked our socks off out there. We deserved to win the game. We deserved to go through. But ultimately, we fell short at a semi-final the 3rd time this year, so it's disappointing.
After their second goal, it did look like there was a bit of an inquest out in the pitch, a bit of an argument going on. Is it understandable tensions were that high at that moment?
Well, for sure. It means a lot to us. The boys in there are devastated. We've got a good group of lads. We know what it means to play for this club. Losing isn't acceptable. Getting to semi-finals isn't acceptable. We've got to now really concentrate on taking it further, taking another step. The improvement we've made this year is massive. You've probably seen again tonight. We've played a good Sevilla team and we've dominated the game. On another day, we win the game comfortably, and everyone goes on about how well we've played. There's areas where we can improve. We know that. We need to get better. Like I said, losing isn't acceptable for this club. We've finished 3rd in the Premier League, and people will say it's a good season, but do we want to finish 3rd next season? No, for sure.
A lot of people did say that this United team had to win silverware to prove that they were developing. Regardless, as you've just said there, obviously I feel your disappointment, but do you agree with them in some ways? It has to happen sooner rather than later. It's been too long.
Well, for sure it will happen soon, so yeah, obviously we want to win it as soon as possible. You've seen the talent on the pitch, the way that we've improved throughout the season. If we take another giant step next season, then we'll improve again. But no, it's disappointing. We want to win silverware. We've got to 3 semi-finals. Obviously, in the Carabao Cup, it was disappointing to lose the game, and in the FA Cup we didn't turn up. Tonight we've turned up. We deserve to win the game. The best team's lost, and maybe that little bit of inexperience has cost us in the end, because even though that we're on top and we're creating chances, we shouldn't concede the second goal.
Thank you for speaking to us.
Thank you.
You can see the frustration. Let's go back to Owen Hargreaves. I mean, we were just talking about the substitutions that Ollie made this evening. He waited until the 87th minute to do it. Is that a reflection of the fact he doesn't have the depth on the bench and therefore doesn't really have the belief those players are going to change the game for him? Otherwise, he does it earlier.
Well, I think it's difficult because I'm with Scholes here. I think the front three are so good. You know, if you can, ideally, you wouldn't change them. You know, Liverpool rarely change the front three, but, you know, they get, you know, some of those goals in crucial moments, and they probably should have got one. Martial had a great chance. When it falls to Greenwood, you just think it's going to hit the back of the net. So the goalkeeper's had an absolute worldie. You know, Ighalo's had a good impact, but is he better than Martial, Rashford, or Greenwood? No, he's not. So, you know, you give those boys a chance and a platform. Mata had a good impact on the game last time he came on, but still, you've got Pogba, Fernandes. You trust those players to get you out of trouble. And I agree with Harry Maguire. I think he spoke great. You know, they probably should have won the game, but they didn't, you know. And then you need to look at yourself there and think, how come we didn't take our chances? How come we didn't defend in that crucial moment when we were in control of the situation? So I think there's a lot of positives this season for United. But going forward and winning titles isn't always about being the better team, the best team. It's just about being there in the decisive moment, which Scholes and Ince know, and they need to sort that out. Ole Gunnar knows that as good as anyone.
So what rebuild needs to happen for them to take that next step? I mean, Harry Maguire spoke about it there, didn't he? If we can take a big step next season, we can compete for titles. Where does this rebuild need to come from? What needs to happen?
It needs to improve the squad. It needs to bring more quality into the squad. We look at 11 or 12 players they've got and you think, yep, good enough probably. Is it good enough to close out, was it 20-point gap of Liverpool? I think it probably is, maybe to halfway, maybe to 10 points. But then can they get closer to Liverpool? I don't see it with this squad. I think they need to strengthen. You look at the bench tonight. He's got Ighalo, who's a goal scorer. He brings him. I think he brought him on last out the 5 subs, which tells you he's not got that much confidence. And you know, you look right across the bench, and is there anybody that can change the game for you? One Matter, possibly in different types of game where it's a tight game. He's got a bit of quality. But really, you look at other squads. You look at the bench and you think they can come on and change the game. They've got 15, 16 players who can really challenge for a full year and challenge the players that are on the team. But United at that minute, they don't have that.
But remember, it's his first season.